and quote unquote either have or receive dual citizenship, or they deny their old citizenship and become U.S. citizens. And that process would be naturalization. And naturalization is when a foreign or alien person, is very key to understand this, an alien is brought into the jurisdiction of a government that's foreign to them altogether, and clothed with certain rights and privileges that otherwise are normally, by right, the natural, unalienable right of the natural citizens of that particular nation or jurisdiction, as distinguished from the right just normally existing with them. That is naturalization. So someone who's naturalized are essentially classified as aliens who are clothed with limited or conditional rights and privileges of citizenship. Nationalization is when a person or people who have suffered the unnatural or consequential interruption of descendancy, of inherited rights of a particular nation, meaning that either their political allegiance and or consciousness has been altered, whereas they don't recognize their obligation to a political state, are brought back into that constitutional fold of their nation state, i.e. the mother has reclaimed her offspring. That's nationalization. Compare that with government. So one who was naturalized is an adopted alien. One who is nationalized is indeed a true heir reclaimed. That is the best way that can be understood. So no Drew Ali did what? Nationalized Moorish Americans who thought they were Negro, black, and colored. Negro, black, and colored had no tie to their illustrious bloodline, to their illustrious true history. Therefore, the natural course of descendancy was politically and socially broken. They could not. They were incapable. They were unlawfully able to receive their proper hereditaments, both corporal and incorporeal. But what was the interrupter in these affairs? Colonial occupation. So someone else or some other body politic was living off our virtues. We're enjoying the fruits of our inheritance. And as a matter of fact, charging us for even exercising rights, converting rights into a crime or into a privilege. We're traveling on our own land and they're charging us a license fee. We're working to survive and they're charging us a license to work. That's called sharecropping. Whenever someone is charged for working by license, that's a fee. A fee on labor, which is actually personal, which is personal property. It's not taxable. How are you paying a fee? You're under occupation of a foreign power. They're interrupting the normal process, of descendancy. And claiming right to your estate, therefore you must pay for all your enjoyments of that which is normally yours. In other words, you are treated politically as an alien in your own land or jurisdiction. Nationalization is a process of clearing those matters up in your mind. Clearing those matters up for the record. Clearing up your concepts and your consciousness of how you deal with these matters with yourself, i.e., there's an internal constitution and set of bylaws by which you operate with each other. And then there's an external constitution by which you operate in your affairs of men, i.e. national constitution. Therefore, Noble Drew Ali said what? Enforce the Constitution of the United States of America, that you might receive your rights, your divine rights as citizens. And without your true national name, or you recognizing your true national government in both name and principle, you can't receive your what? Inheritance, or you can't be nationalized. Say it again. Chapter 47. Oh.
Where?
Yeah, chapter 47 in the Holy Quran really gives you the parameters, and this is really true and interesting, gives you the parameters of that territory. And this is important too, because you got this. Let's look at this. Keep me on point with that too, Ross. Because now when you're talking about nations or nation states, you're talking about jurisdiction. And jurisdiction is a broad subject matter, but let's deal with it a little bit here so that it can be understood by the children, because we need the children to understand it. They need to understand this very early, so that as they grow up and come into the politics of work and other issues, that they're not confused and that someone cannot place them in a foreign or alien jurisdiction and thereby rob them either politically, economically, etc., through contract, etc. Jurisdiction, and listen to this very clearly. Jurisdiction is a term of large and comprehensive import, which means it's heavily important, and embraces every kind of judicial action, every kind. Jurisdiction is the authority, the capacity, the power, or the right to act. And we have a series of law cases here, and I'm going to go back down from there and get back into substance of jurisdiction, because you have multiple kinds here. And jurisdiction is thus the power of him or her who has the right of judging, and him or her who has the power of judiciatories. And of courts, etc. Now, this is very important, because this is important for everyone to really get this concept correct. So I'm taking time because I want you to understand this. Jurisdiction is in three categories. It's of three kinds. And this is very important when you think of nation states, etc., etc., and you think of nationalization versus naturalization. And logically, you have issues of jurisdiction.